Hi, this is Jack Downs with a little update about Dreamweaver and the virtual lab and some problems you may run into. Um, just a reminder, I really hope most of you will try the Dreamweaver project. I've said in my other information that if you have problems with it, if you aren't able to complete it, or if you aren't actually able to start it, I'm not going to hold it against you. But it is going to be a positive if you can do at least some work in it and show me that. However, I think you can very well finish it also. There's a lot to learn. It's a very useful tutorial, I believe. And honestly, in some ways, it's not much different in these distance learning situations because although I might have gotten you started, otherwise we'd have a number of classes where you would just be working on your own. And then some of it you'd have to finish on your own outside of class too. So it is meant to be a self-paced tutorial, but there are a couple of problems. So I'm actually in the virtual lab right now on the screen as you're looking at it, and you'll see that if I hover over the tab, that's in Word 115, but I am not in Word 115. So what's going on here? A couple of things I want to mention. First of all, please give yourself a little bit of time and patience. If you're new to the virtual lab, it is an odd thing to get your head around. I've had people complain to me that their drives are not working. No, you can't put your drive into that computer. That computer is not there. So you have to move things around. Two ways you usually move things around, like get files in, get files out. It all has to be through a browser, first of all. Well, yeah, I guess you just have to say through a browser. And many people are moving files around via email, and that is not going to work for you with Dreamweaver. More on that in just a minute. Otherwise, you have your Google Drive. That will work. And I'm giving you another method if you want to use it. You can use a Moodle Dropbox. Okay, so one way or the other, you've gotten into your virtual lab, and you followed the instructions, and you have the tutorial. You had to open up a browser there. You've had to download from there, if you're starting from fresh, new, the resource file Dreamweaver zip folder. You put it in probably the download area. Maybe make yourself a folder there, and then save that into it, or maybe just save it down there. You unzip it. You go inside. You change the name of what would be the root folder to your name. All that's good. You open up Dreamweaver. Sometimes when you open up Dreamweaver, you're going to get a bunch of, actually any of the Adobe programs, you may get a bunch of what look like error messages. It says something about distiller, more instances of distiller running, something like that. Please just say okay, okay, just get rid of those boxes, and they will stop, they'll go away. You'll notice your login and everything with having to log into Adobe and all that stuff is just like you're sitting there in the lab. So you have to go through all that stuff, still do your dual access and all that stuff. Okay, so you finally get through all that. And then you've done, as the instructions explain, every time you start up, you should do site, new site. You go and tell it what your local folder is. You go and tell it what your default images folder is. And then you end up here. You can see because if I've opened up the files panel, it's showing me my indexes here. I actually, for this little demo I'm doing for you, I did not make that sightseeing document, but you will have that there too if you're more than just at the very, very beginning, or you'll be making it very soon. Okay, what else do I want to tell you? Yeah, okay, so you end up here, good. And you're going to keep on working along, fine. Here's what I suggest to you. Here's what I want to tell you about is a particular problem. And this is a problem in the tutorial instructions, and it's something that's been changed. It's strange. It seems like in some installations it's okay, and some it's not. Some people have this problem, some people don't. Anyway, here's what the problem is. It's kind of a multi-phase thing. It's at the very beginning of part 2 when you're going to be inserting a div. Remember, you're going to insert a wrapper div, right? So here you are. This is what your screen probably looks like, something like this. I've added the properties panel down here too, right? Good, sure. And I tell you, to select or click in the live view portion of the split window, right? And then I say, go to the insert panel, choose HTML if it isn't chosen already, it probably is, insert div. Okay, good. Now some of you at this moment may see that you're not getting this little blue tab here. That probably means, well, I'll show you how you can make that. I can make that error. Well, maybe I'll do it right now. I can do Control Z. Okay, so do Control Z. I'm going to start over again. What if instead of the live view, you have the design view here? There's times when we're going to want the design view, and there's times we're going to want the live view. We'll generally leave it in the live view. And sometimes if one thing's not working, you can switch it to the other one and see if it works. Okay, so I'm here. Let's say I click into this view. See something different? My body is not highlighted now. It will still let me insert a div, but I'm not getting that hamburger icon, that blue tab, all those things. It just says insert div. This actually would work. Okay, and you can click on new CSS rule, and and you'd make a style sheet from it. Okay, so you could go down that route. On the other hand, if you want to do things just like the tutorial, I'm going to say cancel. Again, I want to be in live view. Click in the live view. I see the body is element is highlighted. Insert div, because there's more to this issue or things related to this kind of. Okay, here I am. Good. Insert div. We'll just like I said in the instructions. Click on the plus mark. I'm going to do hashtag wrapper. Good. I hit the enter key. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't know why, but some people at this point don't get this box, and some people get a different box. Anyway, let's say you probably got this box. Select a source, define a page. You want to create a new CSS file. However, if you didn't get this box and all you can see is select a media query, then you may have to hit enter again. Enter a second time to get it. Okay, one way or the other, by hitting the enter key once or twice, you'll get this box. Define a page. No, what does that mean, define a page? That would mean that you're going to get a you're making an embedded style sheet, and we don't want to make an embedded style sheet. So you're going to say create new CSS file. Good. And then it says browse to find the thing, and I want to put it in styles, so I'll say save. Oh, I want to give it a name. Shoot. I'm going to say whatever. I forget which instructions say, but I'm just going to say style. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to say save. And then I'm going to say link. Yes, link. And I say OK. And it makes the link right there. There it is. And we are all set to continue along. Okay, good. It made the div with an ID of wrapper. And I've got this placeholder text there too. Okay, now let's imagine that something went wrong. Maybe you didn't get that box, and you didn't get a link, or maybe you accidentally you allowed it to make an embedded style sheet, and now you got some style on the top. No big deal. You know how to make this link, right? Just write the link in manually. Okay, just like you'd make a link to a style sheet, and then you'll make a style sheet and go. In fact, at some time during this demo, maybe during this tutorial, you may end up with some styles that start appearing in the head of the document because you've accidentally made that selection. No big deal. Just go grab those styles and go paste them into the CSS document that you're going to have too by that point. Well, actually, we have one now. If we go to the Files panel, right? Under Styles, I've got a CSS document. So and let's say that you did screw this up. Later, when you make your first CSS rules, you'd have another opportunity to tell the program to make the CSS document. But you could make it yourself manually. You can just go stick it in there. And remember, at any time, if you feel uncomfortable working in this window, you can stop, open up Notepad++, which is on this computer also, this remote desktop, and then go in there and make a change if you feel more comfortable like that. Although, don't feel like if you get a little off track, things aren't quite right, Just figure out what was it you were trying to do, and go ahead and make that happen, and then just keep on going. Okay, so then let's say down the road things really seem to be getting off track and not making sense at all. Especially if you can get to like the end of a section, like the end of part 3 or part 4 or part 5, and stop there. Then you can zip up your file and send it to me, and I can go over it with you online and zooming. Okay, so let's imagine now I've done a whole bunch of this work, and I said, oh no, geez, I've got to go another class. I got to save this. Or maybe I'm just feeling uncomfortable, and you should feel uncomfortable about having a bunch of unsaved work. And you say, maybe I should back this up. That's a good idea. Good. So, you save your document, and you see the little asterisk goes away from this tab. And maybe you leave this up while you do this because you're going to keep on working, or maybe you have to leave and you've closed the program down. One way or the other, you can go and you see in your My Computer window in the virtual lab. There's my document. Ignore this one here. I was doing something else. Good. There's my document. I say, well, actually, there's my folder. This is my project folder. Normally, remember, when you're going to submit it to me for a grade, you're going to submit to me the root folder. But if you want to save your stuff as a backup, you probably want to save the whole project folder, because maybe you still need some of the things in that originals folder. I mean, either way is fine. You can get it back again, but I think it'd be just as easy to save this thing. So I'm going to be zipping this one. I'm going to send to compressed zip folder, right? Sure. But you know what I want to do? I want to start renaming these. I'm going to rename them like 1 for the first one, and 2 for the second one, and 3 for the third one, or put a date in it, or put something else I can tell as a sequence, so I can know which backup this is. All right, because many of these backups will be obsolete, and I probably won't care anymore. But I'll just hang on to them. But I want to know what the most recent backup is. So the easiest thing for me, myself, the way I would do it is to put numbers in there so I can keep track of them. And I would want the highest number backup. So I made this zip file. And now what am I going to do with it? You may think, well, I'll just email it to myself. For lots of things you do in the virtual lab, that will work fine. But not for this. You cannot email yourself this zip folder because it has JavaScript in it. There's a little JS folder, and you will eventually in the tutorial get to the JavaScript section. Well, your email will not accept that. In fact, most computers, something like that come in via email, it's going to block it because it's going to sense a possible virus because it's programming. So what do? Well, you got 2 choices. You can drop it in your Google Drive, or I've made you another choice too. If you are go back to my browser. Yes, I could drop in my drive. Here's my drive. I'd make a folder in my drive, probably for Dreamweaver, and I would just drag and drop that on there. Then it would save in there fine, and there it is, number 1, and then the number 2, number 3, number 4. That's fine. Maybe you don't want to use Drive or aren't that comfortable with Drive or something. I just want to show you that I made a folder for you. I mean, not a folder, a Dropbox. A different kind of, well, it's the same kind of Dropbox, but a differently labeled Dropbox, way down here. It's called Dreamweaver File Transfer Upload. So you could go in there, and you could load it up into your Dropbox. This is not a grading. This is not for grading, this Dropbox. This Dropbox is just a place you transfer files through. So maybe it's quicker and more efficient for you since you have Moodle open already to get something, to use this. You can just put it in there and let it sit there, and then put another one up the next day, and put another one up the day after that. And maybe you just keep them as a backup. Maybe, but remember, you can download from there too. So that's another option too. You can remove this stuff from it too. But I think probably your drive is probably your best bet. So good luck with Dreamweaver. Please let me know about problems. And as I said, don't get flustered about occasionally if something doesn't quite work out. Yeah, do Control-Z. Go back over the instructions. Think about maybe is your focus wrong? You're clicking on the wrong thing selected or something. Still doesn't work. Trying to figure out what was it we were trying to do here. What was the point? Maybe I'll just go type that code in. Right? Sure. Maybe you just go type it in HTML and then continue along. Okay. Or find some other way to get it in there. So don't worry about that much. I mean, obviously, it does take a lot of attention to detail, though. So we're not like just throwing things around. But just keep on going, get to a point where you really think you need help, and then let me know.